Hey, what's going on, guys? Back for another one. It's your host, Lifestyle Amazing, also known as Richie Skills. Welcome to week 14. It's the final week of the season. So this week we're going to be talking about some priority pickups, some sensational starts, some absolute avoids, studs or snubs. So this week, good luck. You know, it's the last chance for you to get into the playoffs. Let's get started. Let's get you on the way for your playoff chances here. Okay, so first, my priority pickup is going to be a guy that's been playing pretty good of late, and that is Jordan Love of the Green Bay Packers going up against the New York Giants. The Giants are playing for an early round first pick, so this is a guy that I'm looking to start this week, even with the injury to Watson. Okay, and then we got another guy I'm picking up who played really good last week, and that is Jake Browning of the Cincinnati Bengals going up against the Indianapolis Colts. I really don't like him too much in this matchup this week, but he's a guy that you have to pick up and maybe start going into next week and maybe into your fantasy playoffs. A sensational starts, and this is a guy that's been playing good relatively every week, and that is Brock Purdy of the San Francisco 49ers going up against the Seattle Seahawks. He has, like I said, enough talent around him to be very successful in that offense, and I see him having a good productive week, so he's a guy who can definitely start right before the playoffs. And then we got another guy, might not be their starting quarterback next year, but this is Justin Fields of the Chicago Bears going up against the Detroit Lions. I think it's going to be a shootout, but we never know what teams are going to show up. But I think Fields is going to try to improve himself and prove himself for next year too as well. So I see him having a good game against the Lions. A stud or snub, and that is going to be Justin Herbert of the Los Angeles Chargers going up against the Denver Broncos. We know Herbert is a great quarterback. He has great players around him, but a lot of his main receivers are hurt, and it's getting so late into the season that he's going to have to start looking towards other players. Plus, he's probably breaking down a little bit because he has to do a lot of the work. So it could be a hit or miss game for him, but he's a guy that you have to start unless you got a better quarterback. This other guy is playing amazing this year. He should have been the first pick in the draft, and that is C.J. Stroud of the Houston Texans. He just lost his wide receiver Tank Dell for the year. He's still going to get the ball to Nico Collins, and Noah Brown's probably going to step up. He's also going against the Indianapolis Colts, which have a good defense, but I think that he's good enough to get the job done. He's a guy that you can definitely, he's a stud or snub this week, but he's a guy that you definitely can play if you need to. And then we got an absolute avoid, and that's going to be Geno Smith of the Seattle Seahawks going up against the San Francisco 49ers. We all know the 49ers have a very tough defense. Smith had 31 points last week, but I don't see him repeating that. He's going to struggle this week, so he's a guy that I would leave on my bench or free agency and let someone else pick him up. And then we got this guy, if Derek Carr doesn't play, I don't want Mr. Turnover, and that is Winston of the New Orleans Saints going up a weak Carolina Panthers defense, but I just don't like it. It might be more of a run game. I see Alvin Kamara playing a bigger role in this game, so he's a guy I'm looking to avoid this week for sure. And now we're going to go into my running backs. And at a running back at a priority pickup is going to be a guy who out-touched his starting running back last week, and that's Roschon Johnson of the Chicago Bears is going up against the Detroit Lions. He's a three-down back that can catch the ball and is getting more opportunities in the passing game. In the run game, they want to see what they have out of him. So he's a guy I'm definitely looking to pick up and at least stash for now, especially with the playoffs right around the corner. If DeAndre Swift is hurt this week, then I think Kenneth Gainwell is a must-add of the Philadelphia Eagles going up against a tough Dallas Cowboys defense, but you don't have to play him this week. He's just a guy that you want to grab and hold on to just in case that Swift's injury is serious. Sensational start this week, and what the injury do to Ramondre Stevenson, you know, and now is the time for Ezekiel Elliott to step his game up. He did have about 13 or 14 points last game. He is a guy that's going to try to take you to the promised land, and I think he'll be a good start this week. He's going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have a good defense, but I think Elliott will do enough to be productive and help you win this week and maybe get you further weeks as well, because Stevenson's injury is pretty severe. Okay, and then we got a guy who's the second guy behind Derrick Henry, or the guy behind Derrick Henry, and that is Tajay Spears of the Tennessee Titans going up against the Miami Dolphins. We know that's going to be a high-scoring game from the Dolphins side, so Spears is going to need to be involved in the passing game, and I see him having a good 10 plus points this week. He's a guy you can play. Then we got some guys that I would absolutely avoid, and that is Khalil Herbert of the Chicago Bears is going up against the Detroit Lions. Like I said, Herbert's losing carries to Johnson, so I think that he might get you 8 carries, but he might not do much with it. He's a guy I'm definitely looking to avoid this week. And then we got another guy with an injury to Madison, Ty Chandler of the Minnesota Vikings. Got a lot of playing time, but last week he only had 4 carries, and the multiple weeks before that he had over 10 points. So he's an iffy player. He's going up against the Las Vegas Raiders, who aren't the greatest defensive team, but he's a guy that I am not looking to pick up. I'll let someone else pick him up, play him against me. I don't see him having a productive week. Some studs or snubs. Okay, right now I think with the injury what Aaron Jones had, I think A.J. Dillon is a guy that you can sometimes count on, but sometimes you can't. A.J. Dillon of the Green Bay Packers is going up against the New York Giants. Like I said, their defense is not that good, but I think Dillon has the ability to be very good, so it's a risky play if you need to play him. This guy who's taken over the starting job for when Nick Chubb went down, and that's Jerome Ford of the Cleveland Browns, going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think the Jaguars will keep him in check this week, and I don't see Ford exceeding 10 carries in this game, so he's a guy I'm definitely looking to avoid this week. Now we're going to go on to the wide receivers, and a wide receiver I would be adding this week with the injury to Watson. I think Jaden Reed is a must-add of the Green Bay Packers going up against the New York Giants. They will not be able to stop him in the slot, so he's a guy that can help you this week and can help you next week and a week after that too as well. I'm looking to add, as well as another guy I'm looking to add with the injury to Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore. If he's sitting there on your waiver floating around, he's a guy I would definitely look to add this week of the Cleveland Browns going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's going to be needed in this game. Okay, and then we got a sensational start, Romeo Doubs of the Green Bay Packers going up against the New York Giants. We know what he can do, and we know what the Giants can't do, so he's definitely a guy that you can play this week. And then we got another guy who plays on a high-powered offense, or at least has a great receiver in front of him, and that is Brandon Cooks of the Dallas Cowboys going up against the Philadelphia Eagles. We know they're going to have to compete to score with the Eagles, and he's a guy that can definitely help you in that aspect, so he's a guy I'm looking to start this week. Some studs or snubs. And a wide receiver that is going to be Odell Beckham of the Baltimore Ravens. He's been playing consistent with the Ravens, but this can be a tough game for him. He's a guy that he's a risky play if you start him. Here, who's been good up and down, up and down, up and down, that is Calvin Ridley of the Jacksonville Jaguars going up against a tough Cleveland Browns defense. I don't see him doing too well unless he gets a big catch in this game. An absolute avoid at wide receiver, and that's going to be Drake London of the Atlanta Falcons going up against the Tampa Bay Bucks. I don't see their quarterback is not good enough to get London involved too much, so I think that they may lean on the ground a little bit more, or London might not be the wide receiver one in this game. Another guy that I would absolutely avoid, and that is Rashid Rice of the Kansas City Chiefs going up against a tough Buffalo Bills defense. We all know that these are two great quarterbacks going at it, but I don't like Rice in this matchup, especially against a Bills tough defense. So he's a guy that I'm definitely looking to avoid this week. And then we're going to go on to my tight ends. And a tight end that I would be picking up is Okongwu of the Tennessee Titans going up against the Miami Dolphins. They're going to have to stay with the Dolphins. They're going to have to pass. Okongwu is going to be involved in this game. He's a guy I would definitely look to add. I think he can get you 5 to 6 targets, a couple of catches, maybe 40 yards. Then we got Gerald Everett of the Los Angeles Chargers going up against the Denver Broncos. Everett is a hit or miss, but he's a good guy to keep as your tight end too, just in case somebody gets hurt, or if you have somebody on a bye week this week, like Trey McBride's on a bye week. So I think he's a guy that you can definitely fill in for this week at least. Sensational start, and that's going to be a guy, and my rookie picks is Sam Laporta of the Detroit Lions going up against the Chicago Bears. He's going to eat against them. He's going to score a touchdown and get targeted a ton in this game. He's a guy you can definitely start. Got Dalton Kincaid of the Buffalo Bills another great rookie this year, has been stepping up ever since Knox got hurt, but Knox might be coming back. So he's a guy that's going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. He's going to be a big part of this offense this week, and for your fantasy playoffs, guy could definitely start. A stud or a snub is another two players coming back from injury, and that is Darren Waller of the New York Giants going up against the Green Bay Packers. Waller, we know what kind of player he can be, but we also know the things that he has not been consistent. So he's a guy that is a risk reward for sure. You need one, you can try, but don't be surprised if he gives you 2 points. Then we got another guy coming back from injury, and that is Dallas Goedert of the Philadelphia Eagles going up against the Dallas Cowboys, which Dallas will come out on top. I don't know what got it coming back from an injury. Plus, they have a lot of weapons on the Eagles. So he's a guy that I definitely could give you points, but he also can hurt you this week as well. The absolute avoid, who's played great the last week or the week before, but last week he didn't do too well, and that is Pat Freiermuth of the Pittsburgh Steelers going up against a tough New England Patriots defense. He's a guy that I'm definitely looking to at least bench this week until he has a better matchup. And then another tight end right here. He is not filling in the role that Mark Andrews had, and as Isaiah Likely of the Baltimore Ravens going up against the Los Angeles Rams. I don't like this matchup for him. He might get you a couple of catches, but I think he's going to be locked down, so he's a guy I'm definitely looking to avoid this week. Maybe you can keep on your bench for further weeks. And now I'm going to go into my defenses, and a defense that I would pick up this week would be the Houston Texans going up against the New York Jets. Whenever the Jets are playing somebody, that's the defense that you want. Plus, the Texans have been playing pretty good lately. Now, another defense is a sensational start, and that's going to be the Miami Dolphins going up against the Tennessee Titans. We know Will Levis hasn't looked too comfortable as a quarterback right now in his rookie season, so I see the Dolphins getting at him a lot this game. So this is definitely a defense you can start this week. And then a stud or snub is going to be the New England Patriots. We know they've been playing good defense. They're going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are starting Mitchell Trubisky. So there's a chance that the Patriots could do good. But if their quarterback play and their running back play is not that good, then it can be an up and down game, so we don't know if their defense will help you out this week. And then we got a absolute avoid is going to be the New York Jets going up against CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans. The way he's been playing lately, even if he doesn't have his top receivers there, I think that he's got enough talent to find open gaps in the holes against the New York Jets. So that's definitely a defense I'm looking to avoid, and I can play them maybe in my fantasy play. Well, that's it for me, guys. Thanks for listening, and good luck with week 14. I hope you guys made the playoffs, and we'll see you next week for the playoffs, round 1. Peace.